Welcome to Shom Machshava on the daf. We're holding in Menachos daf Tzadik Aleph. Throughout this daf, starting ready for the previous daf, we're learning the union of Nesachim. Nesachim is the wine that comes with the korbanos. And Dover Niflam is born is to see that Nesachim were given to Am Yisrael only after the Parsha of the Meraglim. What's the pshat that Nesachim were given only after Parsha of the Meraglim? Now the Sforno, there's a fascinating Sforno. The Sforno says that before Chet Ha'Meraglim there was no Nesachim at all. After Chet Ha'Meraglim there was Nesachim for Korbanos Tzibur. And after Chet Ha'Meraglim, that's when came Nesachim for the Korbanos of the individual as well. So what does all this mean? So the Sfasemes and Pasha Shlach Tafresh Mintes and the Shem Yishmuel and Pasha Shlach Tafresh Ayin Beis, they both say a very similar idea. They explain that Nesachim represents the body, while the Behemah that comes to the Mizbeach, that represents something which is higher. Because the Behemah has a nefesh. The Behemah has a nefesh chiyunis, referring to it's something which is more ruchni, more spiritual. But the Nesachim, where did the wine come from? The wine comes from the ground, comes from Davar Tzemeach. So it's more physical. So the Sfasemes tells us, before the Meraglim, Am Yisrael were in the Midbar, they were living a life of spirituality. They had everything coming from Shemayim. And this is the main reason why the Meraglim did not want to go into Eretz Yisrael. Because the Meraglim felt, we're going to Eretz Yisrael, we're going to lose that spiritual Milo. We're going to be in a much more physical world. That was where the Chet was, where they felt they're not going to be able to handle it in a more physical world. Adds the Sfasemes, it brings the Gemara that says that some call him anybody who davens without tefillin. So it's as if he was makriv oilu b'loy mincha and a zevach b'loy nesachim. Person who davens but doesn't put tefillin, he's missing the nesachim of the korban. What does that mean? When a person davens, that is connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The tefillin is the oilam ha'maisa, the mitzvah he has to do with his body. It's not enough to have the words, the connection, which is more ruchni. You have to have your physical avodah as well. So a korban without nesachim is a korban you have the more spiritual thing, but you're missing the physical. When you're having a korban without a nesachim, you're having the more spiritual, but you're missing the more physical. So the Shem Yishmuel takes this idea further, and he says that the avodah of Klal Yisrael was defined as they're going in the midbar. Because when they were in the midbar, they're living a life of ruchnius that may have continued that way. Mashiach would come, would be a whole different life. But when they did the Chet Ha'Meraglim, they lost some of that Maila ruchnius that they had. So he goes on to say, based on the Maharal, what was Chet Ha'Meraglim? Chet Ha'Meraglim is when Am Yisrael still has Shem Knesset Yisrael. Am Yisrael as a umos is still one, is still intact. So he says, therefore, after Chet Ha'Meraglim, now they had to come and take care of the more physical. But Am Yisrael as a whole was good enough to take care of all the individuals. So therefore there was Nesachim only in Korbanos Tzibur, not in Korbanos Yachid. Because the individuals were able to fix their body or what's need to be fixed in their body by connection to Klal Yisrael. But after Chet Ha'Meraglim, then Am Yisrael lost the Shem Knesset Yisrael. They lost the connection. And you can add to the Shem Yishmuel, what's brought down is basically based on the Vilna Gaon, that the Yikar connection of Am Yisrael is through Eretz Yisrael. That's when they have Bris Shvatim, the connection of all the Shvatim together. And when they do Chet Ha'Meraglim, they lost a little bit the Maila of Eretz Yisrael because they now want to go into Eretz Yisrael. So they're missing the Maila of the Klolius. Now each individual has to take care of his physical needs in Ruchnius. Now Nesachim come to every Korban Yachid. So Yemeilah comes out like this. Nesachim represents the fact that we're not taking care of only the spiritual needs, but also the physical comes and is participating and needs to be misukkan. And it's also part of Avodah Hashem. And Am Yisrael in the Midbar slowly came in to find that Avodah. And when they were in Chet Ha'Meraglim, they still had the Shem Klal Yisrael, so Klal Yisrael as a whole was able to fix each individual. But when they came to Chet Ha'Meraglim, that was lost. And that chelik, they have to come now, that each individual brings a korban that needs to bring the Nesachim that take care of his avodah that has to do with the body, with the guf. And that's why after Chet Ha'Meraglim, that's when comes the whole parsha of Nesachim, because then it applies that now we have to fix all the physical, all the guf, and now he is participating in avodas Hashem. V'yesh oid le'ayim b'davar omoik zeh. Anyone who wants to join or sponsor the Shom Machshava Shiurim, please email shomachshava@gmail.com.